Katha Upanishad 2 to 14. How shall I know that supreme indescribable bliss which they realize directly as this? Is it self-effulgent? Does it shine distinctly or does it not? The translation is kind of used the word unspeakable. I mean that is not kind of correct. The usage. That's why. How shall I know that supreme indescribable bliss which they, who, those who realize it directly as this? Is it self-effulgent? Does it shine distinctly or does it not? Tadetaditi manyante anirdeshyam paramam sukam katam no tad vijaniyam kimu bhati vibhati va. Yes, now this is what tad is. You know what this is? It's speaking about that which. What is that way? That's a knowledge of the self. That is what they say. Does that now shine distinctly? Is it self-luminous? This is a question that the Upanishad is asking as if to itself. Now, it further says that this knowledge of the self is actualized by people which they realize directly as this. This. It's directly perceived. Maybe it's hidden. No. That's what the realization is in Vedanta is like, it is self-evident. Once you realize it, you don't go and ask somebody, is this a realization? Is this my realization authentic? Is it genuine? Is it correct? You don't go and ask, you know it yourself. Because the knots of the hearts have been cut asunder. Vidyate hridaya granthi. Chiddate sarva samshaya. All the doubts have been eradicated. When that is seen, which is high and low, is in one of the other Upanishads. So, how shall I know that supreme, indescribable bliss which they, those special ones, why, what makes them special? Because they have divested themselves of all other desires except the knowledge of the self. When they are so focused, like Sri Ramakrishna says, it's like a soldier, putting the bayonet at the end of the rifle, and where will the attention of the soldier be? On the bayonet. Not go about here and there. You do it, you had it. That person is focused. That's what it is. Similarly, this person is focused. Why? Because this person has, these people have given up all other desires. What other desires are there? There are three principal desires. They are called ashanas. They are ashanas. Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokeshana. The desire for progeny, the desire for wealth, and the desire for the world. Yes, the world needs me. I need the world. Really? Oh, that's a good thing. Many people have said it, and the world doesn't miss them at all. Yeah. They're a kind of self-delusion. Oh, the world needs me. My people need me. Really? Oh, God. Nobody needs you. And we don't need anything of this world. Once you understand it, you withdraw yourself. So these people have given up all the three types of these desires. They cover vast ground, so they're categorized into three. Once you give these three up, there, you're focused on that. What? The knowledge of the self. So the yat, they say, tad iti, it is here, this is it. The Guru will say, here it is. When the Guru is pointing out to your chosen ideal, this is your chosen ideal. Doesn't he say that? Do you remember? Do you remember? Oh, you forgot. You have been initiated so long, but I don't know what happened. What happened during my initiation? Try to refresh your memory. The Guru will say, this is your chosen ideal. So this, it's directly perceived. So these people who have given up all the desires, they perceive the knowledge of the self directly. In Vedanta is said, like the fruit in the palm of your hand. Like a fruit in your palm. It's like that. Karatala gata amalaka or mukti. Like you see a thing directly, it's in your palm. Here it is. I see it. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, I see it. Suppose somebody says, that guy who has not come to California, okay? I have not seen California, so California doesn't exist. Oh, really? Yeah. Those guys who are in California will say, yeah, we are in California. This is the difference between direct perception and hearsay, listening to third hand, fourth hand accounts. So the knowledge of the self, I don't have the knowledge of the self, so it doesn't exist. Really? I don't have knowledge of God, so God does not exist. Really? Is that an argument? It's like saying, a guy who has never been to the US, I have not seen the US, so it doesn't exist. But if he meets someone who has been to the US, he says, oh, I've been to the US, Oh, really? Yeah. Is he going to say, oh, you're a lie? No. There is no US, and what you are saying, the US is all lie. No, the guy will listen to him. Yeah, I think. So, this is what the scriptures do. You haven't yet realized it? Okay. This is what it is actually. So, it is describing to you that reality, and you've got to listen to it. If you say, oh, the scriptures are a lie. Oh, that person is a lie. Then, only what he thinks or she thinks is the truth. So, it might be a self-delusion. So, this Upanishad is indirectly telling us, this is it. And the person who knows will tell you, this is it, here. So, they realize it directly as this, here, a thad. This it is. Simple, there's no. When Swami Vivekananda asked Sri Ramakrishna, Sir, have you seen God? Yes. And he asked the same question to many people, religious people then. And none gave him a definitive answer. Oh, you have the eyes of a yogi, you have this, you have that. And what is Sri Ramakrishna? Yes. And I see God more intensely than I see the world. Here it is. We see this world very intensely. It is in 3 dimensions. It's tangible. But when Sri Ramakrishna says, it is even more intenser than this, what we see. How will Sri Ramakrishna describe it? Yes, this is it. It is directly tangible, more tangible than what you thought was tangible here, this world. No. So this is what is the experience like. The knowledge of the self is directly attained. There is no other kind of intermediary to teach you, oh, this is what it is. You have to know it through me. No, you know it directly. Why? Because that's your self. So they say, is this self effulgent? Does it shine distinctly or does it not? So this is a question posed by the Upanishad to itself, as it were. There are some people who know it distinctly as this. Now, is this self-effulgent? Is it apparent? Is it direct perception? Well, it is a, or it isn't. Why it isn't? Apparently. Well, because the next verse will take this up, but here the commentator says, is it my object? Is it is the object of my consciousness? I am the subject. I perceive this directly here. Is it an object of my consciousness? Is it an object of my intellect? But that is the evidence. What appears to me, what really appears to me? Things appear to you in your understanding, in your intellect. You see this thing, but where do you really see this thing? Outside? It appears outside, but you understand it through inside, to the inner kind of this, through the mind or through the intellect. It is here that you really see. Perception occurs here. Okay. So, is it an object of my consciousness? Is it graspable by my intellect? This is the question that's posed. Is it perceived clearly as an object of our intellect, or is it not? Do we have to perceive it? Yes. The whole rationale of Vedanta is you've got to perceive this thing here and now. It's not a post-mortem attainment of something. Oh, you see, after I die, and then I will go to heaven, and then there I will see something. If you have not seen it here, you won't see it there. You better see it here. So, what is the evidence? What is the, they say, pramana of these books? Well, the evidence is you yourself. The books do not kind of authenticate me. I authenticate the books. In many people, in many religions, it's the book that authenticates you. What you're supposed to do this and do that, and this commandment and that commandment. Follow the line. Don't fall out of the line. Huh. What is the proof that this is God's word? I am the proof that it is God's word. The book itself is not a proof that it's God's word. Because something kind of what it says gels with my inner understanding. Yeah, this is truth. So ultimately, the book is not the proof of the reality or God or anything. People may say many things. People have been saying many things about so many things. Ultimately, you are the proof. People ask, does God exist? Well, I said, do you exist? Yeah, I exist. So what a kind of silly thing you ask, does God exist? If you exist, you are the proof that God exists. According to Vedanta, of course. You can't you can't really understand non-existence. That's the strongest, you can say. Nobody doubts oneself. It's there. It's tangible. It's there. Oh my God. I never doubt, do I exist? So I tell people, you should ask that question to yourself. Do you exist? Does God exist? I said, do you exist? Ask yourself. And then you'll find out the answers, whether you exist. If you exist, then everything else exists. That is, reality exists. So this question has been put, why is it difficult to grasp? Because it is beyond the range of the body and the senses and even the mind. Because these are limited factors. If you are dependent on your senses to understand reality, you will understand reality in a very limited way. Now, if you try to understand through the mind, you will understand that reality through a slightly broader way. But if you understand reality through your soul, you understand it correctly. We will see in the next section what are the grades of this kind of realization. Okay? But here it's saying, does it shine? Yeah, does it shine? Is it self-effulgent? Is it kimu bhati vibhati va? Bha. Bha is to shine. It's luminous. That's what, the word in the India is a kind of a anglicized word. It's a, of what, Bharat. The name for India is actually Bharat. Bha. Bha, that which shines. So, what shines? Yeah, it's very hot, there. So, you have a lot of sunshine. Yeah. It's a light of, shines with the light of knowledge. That's what Bharat was. So, kimu bhati vibhati. Does it appear like that? Does it shine like that? No. Now here it is. Now we have this idea that, so the next verse is telling us about, is further an extension of this very, okay. And this is the last verse in this section. There the sun does not shine, neither do the moon and the stars, nor these flashes of lightning shine. How can this fire? He shining, all these shine. Through his lustre, all these are variously illumined. That. Okay. Now, this is real kind of, it's a very poetic way of speaking about that reality. It's kind of light of all lights. There the sun does not shine. Neither do the moon nor the stars nor these flashes of lightning. How can this fire reveal it? It's taking all material objects and showing. The sun is self-luminous, you see. It doesn't need another light to illuminate itself. The moon is not self-luminous. It needs the sun. And every other light is always dependent on something else. But the sun, of course, you might say, the sun's light depends on the fusion and all that. Okay, that doesn't matter. Let's not go into that. But what is happening is, this light of the self is self-luminous, where all material light also fails to illuminate. We want to know this self, the Atman, the reality, through something? No, we'll have to discard all of this. Why? Because these are, you can say, bad, reflectors. It is the light of the consciousness that actually makes all the sun and moon and lightning and stars and all the fire to function, to work. So he's saying, that shining, all these shine. Because that shines, all these lights shine. Because of that light. It's like, Sri Ramakrishna also gives the example of water that's being boiled, and he put some, you can say, vegetables in it, and he's been cooking some vegetable. So, but then it's a vessel, not a water. The vessel has become hot. And then it's not a vessel itself. It is a fire beneath the vessel. So the fire is there. Remove the fire and the vessel gets cold. The water will get cold. And all the, whatever you're boiling inside will settle down and quiet. So if the water thinks, as it's me, that's I am burning, the vessel will say, no, it's my heat that's transmitted to you. So in all of our bodies and minds and everything are functioning, then what really makes them function? It is that light. That shining, all these shine. Through its luster, all these are variously illumined. So all forms of illumination, whether external or internal. And in those days, you had a sun. We speak about electric fires, electricity and this and that. In those days, there were no electricity. There were kind of lamps, fed with oil lamps and all that. Wax.
Kerosene.
Kerosene? There was no kerosene there. Oh, probably, yeah. In some parts of the world, there was a kind of crude oil that was being used as tar and oil. Anyway. So all forms of luminous bodies that we see that we know in the world cannot illuminate. Will the sun do that? No. Then the moon? No. Lightning? No. Fire? No. Then what? Nothing. It is that self-luminosity of the reality that is behind all these luminous entities. So it's a light beyond all darkness. It is the light of all lights. And here, there is, in the Bhagavad Gita itself, like various places, this idea has been kind of spoken about. Na tatra bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartita tadham. There the sun does not shine, nor the moon. And different words are being used. But one of here it is. Jyotisham apita jyoti. This is in the 13th chapter, 17th verse. It's a light of all lights. Jyotisham apita jyoti. Tamasa paramuchyate, beyond all darkness. Jnanam gneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. The known knowledge and that which can be known, the three factors, shine. Where? In the cave of your heart. Hridi sarvasya avishtitam. This shines variously. So in all beings, there is, in the very core of our being, there is knowledge, the knowable, and the knower. And these three things are there with the depths of your being. Where in the heart? In the intellect. It's called the intellect, Riddhi. Is the intellect intelligence? No. It's in the cave of the heart, in the very core of your being, is there where knowledge shines. What knowledge? Consciousness, which later gets bifurcated into subject and object. Jnana is a connecting link. Jnaya, that which is known, and the Gyatri, the one who knows. So the knower, the known, and knowledge which connects inside. Actually, these three factors, actually, they're one. And as it becomes grosser and grosser, they externalize and they form these three factors. And everything that we know through these three factors. I know this chair. Well, the chair is the object, I am the subject, and what connects me with the chair? Knowledge. So this is so in the cave of your heart, that in the supreme space, there all these three factors converge. You know the reality, which is the light of all lights, by your own self. Now, you will say, how do you know? Does it become objectified? It is not objectified. There is in consciousness an aspect called self-consciousness. I'm not talking about somebody looks at you and then saying you become self-conscious. No, oh yeah. That is an aspect of the self-consciousness. Consciousness itself has that quality of knowing itself. Got this? How do you know? Yeah, I know. And when you do not know, yeah, I do not know. I do not know. You know. And you try to kind of be hypocritical or kind of lie about it. Then you also know. Yeah, I actually don't know about this thing. I'm kind of making a fuss out of it. And when I know, and I'm going to stand by it, stand by that knowledge. So knowledge has that inherent, consciousness has the inherent power of illumining itself. That's why it is self-luminous. That's why that shining, all these shine. It's not only this gross and the subtle universe we are talking about. This is in the heart of your consciousness, the very core, the very being. There it shines and it knows itself. You know yourself. Only problem is, a lot of adventitious things have come in the middle of your knowing. Suppose I want to know this particular object, and if I look at it through various screens, a red screen and a blue screen or a filter, this thing is going to appear distorted. I know it, but it's distorted. It's the same way with this self-luminous Atman in me. I know it, but it is filtered through various kind of the body and the senses and the life force and the mind, and so many things are there, my old beliefs, my old karma, and here, there. So that light that filters through all this thing appear distorted. Well, you take a prism and you can split the ray of light into its constituent parts, like that the various parts of the spectrum of the rainbow. That's it. And you put another prism, you can converge all those into a single ray of light. So this light of consciousness that is inside, which is self-luminous, which is the light of all lights, is, as it were, diffracted right now. And it has to be made to converge. And where can it be converged? It can converge only there in the cave of your heart, there within you, where all these things merge. So that light, what happens is, people say, oh, this light and light. Like we were just talking before the class, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. Yes. What is the magician or something like that? Yeah. Let there be light and there was light. That's why it's saying, Jyotisham apita jyot tamasa. It's a light beyond all lights, and it is beyond darkness. Light of all lights beyond all darkness. There, none of the material lights, no sun, no moon, no stars, no lightning, no fire, no, not even your mind can illuminate. Why? Because because of that luminosity, the mind and the senses and the body and stars and moons and planets and etc., all these things have obtained their reality. You pull the plug and there it's over. You pull the plug and, what happened? Nothing happened. So, you know, we see this world. You know, when I came in here, Satya was working in the dark, and I said, "Where's the light?" And then he said, "You bring in the light," and I put the lights on, and then his light was there. So, human beings are oriented towards light. Our whole visual apparatus that is oriented towards seeing light, seeing and then moving towards it. You notice? You see things at a distance. In the Panchadasi, there is something called Samvadi Brahma and Asamvadi. A person sees something shining in the dark, and thinking it's a lamp shining there, he goes towards it. That guy is a kind of traveler. And in India, in those old days, it becomes dark quickly, and he sees that light shining there, and he goes towards it, thinking probably there's some human habitation or there's some house or something like that. And as that person goes towards it, he finds it's a diamond that's shining there. Until and unless that person does not attempt to go towards that light, he will not get the gem. Well, he never got that light, but he got a gem. Human beings are always oriented towards light. We do not like darkness. And that's why you see dark deeds are committed after dark. As it's evening, as that light goes up and the sun goes down, and people of all stripes keep on crawling out of the woodwork with all that evil tendencies. Darkness has a kind of a veiling power. It's like, whatever I do, nobody will recognize me. My deeds will go unrecognized, unseen, unknown, but I will do those things. That's why the gods were said lovers of darkness, lovers of light, and the asuras, the demons, were the lovers of darkness. And the light and the darkness was always in constant tussle. All these old mythologies, it's nothing but day and night, The constant darkness and light is always. So human beings had been oriented towards going towards the light. And really, you notice that we develop more during the daytime, in the light, than at night. For there are various factors and all. But then we see things and we move towards it. It's a light. Imagine if there was no sun. Well, there would be no life at all. All life is directly or indirectly linked to that sun. Every life. It cannot be said to be that life which is found in the deep trenches in the oceans. Apart from that, everything is, our whole life is dependent on the light of the sun. Okay. Now, you remove that sun and put the Atman, that self there. All life and everything will depend on that Atman, that reality. Everything, yes. Take that reality out, and what remains? Everything is, somebody pulls the plug. Everything is over. So that's why he's saying it's the light beyond, it's a light of all lights. There the sun does not shine, neither do the moon and the stars, nor these flashes of lightning shine. How can this fire, that shining, all these shine through its luster, all these are variously illumined. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti, kutoyam agni tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Because that exists, everything exists. Because that shines. Why does existence have the quality of shining? Yeah, Vedanta says that which is existence, asti, bhati, shines. And that which shines is extremely lovable, dear, priya. That which shines, that is luminous, it's extremely beloved. So existence always is self-luminous. It does not need any other, you can say, light. Now in Vedanta, it comes down to, what about that soul and God? They say, there's a soul and there's a God. In the highest reaches of Vedanta, it is that same reality which is behind God, ideas of God, behind your own individuality is one. You cannot have two self-luminous entities, God and the individual soul. Got this? Otherwise will create a metaphysical conundrum. Two. This is self-luminous. God, what is he doing? I'm self-luminous. What about this soul? Self-luminous. Why? Because this guy has to become self-luminous. Why? Because if it has to attain immortality, it has to be self-luminous, self-existent. Now the problem comes, how many? There's a guy here who says self-luminous. And all these guys are all self-luminous guys. So what Vedanta does, it makes one self-luminous entity. Finish. That's over. That reality, you call it God, you call it Allah, you call it Jehovah, you call it Buddha, you call it anything. That reality is one, and that is the same as your own self. Okay? There it is. So it solved all that big problem of too many guys fighting for the luminous to be in the sun. So there is that reality that shines, and because of its, you can say, consciousness, luminosity, that everything becomes alive. Always. Just always. Like, yeah, you light a kind of a, you can say, a piece of wood. The wood says, I'm burning, I can burn you. Well, no, the wood actually is burning through fire, which is something different. The two have kind of combined together. Got this? When water is hot, heat and water are two separate things, but they are blended together. When iron also is heated, it becomes red and then white with heat. There are two separate things, but they are blended together. Similarly, in the cave of our heart, this knowledge, the knowable and the known, they are kind of blended together there. And that's kind of reflected. Got this? So as it starts manifesting, it manifests as subject, object, and that which connects us. The same thing is, it's called a Triputi Beda, the threefold, you can say, difference. In the gospel also you find, oh, you see, I don't. There's a Pandit that has come and you're explaining Vedanta with the threefold, you can say. The knower, the knowledge, and the known, the meditator, the meditation, and the thing meditated upon, object of meditation. So Sri Ramakrishna, you say, oh, this threefold. For me, it's very simple. I and my mother, the Divine Mother. So this is very simple. It is actually more simplified. I and mother. There it is. And then later on you'll find that the I has merged into this mother. What remains is only that. So this is how this verse is interpreted. Does it shine distinctly like the previous, or does it not? Does it shine? Yes, it shines distinctly and variously, as the commentator says. It shines in me, it shines in everyone, it shines behind every form of existence. This world that you see. I remember a great Swami. He was a disciple of Raja Maharaj, Swami Brahmananda. He was telling you see this Belur Mutt? I say, yeah, this is Belur Mutt. Talking about curled up inside this Belur Mutt, there's another Belur Mutt, a luminous Belur Mutt. When you enter, you see the external. It's like you're wearing your clothes, and you can be also without clothes. So when you wear clothes, Belur Mutt that you see, the world that you see is kind of wearing a garment. And that's what we see. But stripped of its garment, what do you see? There's another, that same reality which is there, appearing in its true nature. So this world that you see, everything that you see, is a kind of a garment, it's a kind of a covering over the face of reality. Put it away, and you see that luminous being there, behind everything. Luminous being. So here also, strip yourself of all these coverings that you've smothered the reality. And now as you keep on, that reality will shine. And it will always shine there, because that's the nature to shine. Though externally you say, oh, this reality is kind of covered up there. And the whole process of spiritual disciplines is to uncover that. It's not generating a new reality or producing a new reality or nothing. It's your spiritual practices producing the result of this reality, the reality that you experience. No. All spiritual disciplines, all prayers and fasting and all these things have to be understood. They are not end in itself. They are the means to peel back the layers that you have laid down over the years. And as you keep on peeling them one by one, you will find. So in the Upanishads, there's a young man who was feeling so proud that he was a great scholar, and his father had to kind of cut him down to size. Yes. Chandogya. So he said, get me that fruit. Where is the fruit? Say, bring it. Cut it open. What do you see? The flesh, sir. Cut it open. What do you see? The tiny seeds, sir. Break them open. What do you see? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? It's from the very essence of that which you cannot see, which has produced everything. The seeds, the fruit, the flowers, the whole tree has come out from nothing. What do you mean nothing? Similarly, as you keep on peeling back the layers, you'll say, what do we end up with? Nothing? Nothing? Oh, it's that which has produced everything. That which is the subtle essence of which all these things are made, that is the self, and thou art that. Oh, Svetaketu, Tattvamasi Svetaketu, thou. Those beautiful, you can say, teachings in the Chandogya Upanishad. That is the truth, that is the self. This is the truth, this is the self, the Atman. It is self-luminous here. Another thing that this verse also indirectly speaks is, you cannot know it through any other means except through itself. I know myself through myself. You know the Atman through the Atman. Atmani eva Atmana. You know the Atman through the Atman. You know the Brahman through the Brahman. You cannot know Brahman or the Atman through Maya. That has to be dropped off. So you know, and that's what this kind of, that self-luminosity has the power of self-reflection. It knows itself. I know myself. But what about the deep sleep? I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of covered there. But when you wake up, I knew I was sleeping. I knew I was there. So this is a test of self-luminosity of the reality, that it shines all the time, everywhere, in all beings. We should not think that, it shines only in human beings. Human beings are kind of, we'll stomp down on all the small creatures and why they are taking away some of our light. They're taking some away of our importance. No, it's all beings. But in the human, you can say, mind, the chitta has taken the perfect form for its realization. Swami Vivekananda said, immediate salvation is not possible for a cow, but it is for a human being. The very structure, the mind has arisen to the state of, you can say, purity. So when we say that it has become the object in our intellect, so that intellect is free from tamas and rajas, the two lower qualities of nature. It's become sattvic, sattva. And that is what. So here is saying buddhi grayam atindriyam. Atindriyam, beyond the senses and grasped by the intellect. We have seen this verse. Buddhi grayam atindriyam. Grasped by the intellect, grasped by that consciousness. There it is. And once you have it, there is have it. Once you know this, you know everything. By knowing one lump of clay, you know all that is made of clay in this universe. You know, if you know one, you can say atom, you know all the atoms in the universe. If you know one form of energy, you know all the energy in the universe. That is also in the Chandogya Upanishad, to Sveta Ketu is there. So you hold this, it reveals itself to you, then you know everything. You don't go separately trying to run about and seeing everything where this is the self-luminous or not. You know it. Okay. Iti Kato Upanishad Dvitiya Dhyaya Dvitiya Valle. So here they say, here ends the chapter, the section. Second part, second section, 15th verse. We will next Thursday take the the third canto, the third section. Tomorrow, this evening, 7:30, we have the Katha Upanishad class. The gospel class.
Devananda, I think, is taking it right now.
Yeah, Swami Sarvadevananda. And tomorrow we have the Bhagavad Gita.
He will take that.
Yes. Okay.
We are so fortunate to be here.
Cool.
We are so fortunate
Correct.
to be
So correct.
Oh yeah. You'll understand. You are so fortunate to be close to Shri Ram Krishna.
close to what?
So
Shri Ram
you-
Krishna.
Maharajas.
Very fortunate.
Yes.